few days ago, I drove through the town where I grew up. I drove past the spot of the old movie theater where my sister and I used to spend long, empty summer afternoons, but it isn't there anymore. It was replaced by a dentist's office, which may be the most depressing of the possible replacements. The clothing store owned by that designer who used to donate costumes for the high school play wasn't there anymore either, and neither was the corner store where my best friend and I met every morning so we could walk to school together. There used to be a deli where my dad and I got turkey sandwiches the day before we moved into town. That afternoon is etched in my memory. It's even shown up in my dreams many times over the years. He was so happy in this town and proud of himself then in his 30s that he could afford a house and that his daughters would grow up in a place very different from the Bronx where he and my mom were raised. The turkey was piled really high in those sandwiches, which he took as a sign of the luxurious lives we were about to live. My old town is still there, but the people who made it mine aren't. Driving through, I had this odd experience of knowing every inch deep in my bones while simultaneously feeling like it was entirely foreign. The memories are all I have, and a lot of them I hold alone since many of the people I shared them with are no longer with us. My high school boyfriend died in his 20s, and my best friend died in her 30s. But it's not just those key relationships, it's the hundreds of familiar faces, the people who can make even a New York City neighborhood feel like a small town, the faces and voices of people who are the landscape of daily movements, the familiar exchanges, the conversation partners and casual smiles that make a place feel like home. We're talking about grief today, and most years we focus on the people who've gone before us, but this year I'm acutely aware of the kind of loss we don't really talk about, but which defines so much of the human experience. It's part of getting older, and to be clear, every one of us is getting older. With each passing year, we leave something behind. The people we knew in high school, in college, from our first job or neighborhood. And not just the people, but the moment, that phase of life, the world that was created in that time and place, which won't be created again. Grief isn't just about major loss, but about the lived experience of tiny changes, of realizing something is behind you that can't be recaptured, something is over. Maybe it's youth, maybe it's the loss less of a person, but of a generation of people, grandparents, aunts, uncles, all those who were before us, who filled holiday rooms when we were kids. Maybe people we found boring, but whose voices created the soundtrack of holidays and weddings and family vacations. People, voices, familiar storefronts, scents permeating neighborhoods, buildings. You never gave that 4-story brick a second thought, but now that it's been torn down, replaced by a skyrise, it feels important. We've got 4 brownstones here on 35th Street that were an eyesore as they began to crumble, but I miss that red door and those 19th century iron gates. And while generations of people will never know they were there, I will always feel the loss when I walk down this block. The tearing down of the east wing of the White House triggered something similar. I have never been to the East Wing. I was unlikely ever to go. I know nothing about it. I've never been curious to find out. But watching it get torn down was heartbreaking all the same. Some of that has to do with a deeper acceptance of how consequential this presidency is, and a feeling like the changes are permanent, and our nation is being dismantled in a way that can never be repaired. We have this service, this Memorial Sunday service at this time every year, in part because of the liturgical Christian calendar of All Souls and All Saints Day, and in part because of the pagan practices around Samhain. But we also have it now because we're entering the holiday season when people are sometimes confronted by their grief, by the loss of people they love, or the emptiness of never having had those relationships to begin with, the spouses we never met, children who were never born. And while that makes sense to me as we mark this moment every year, this year, the grief feels bigger. It feels national. It feels like so much of our work has been lost. Like when your computer shuts down and when you get it back up and you see none of what you were doing was saved, except in this case, what wasn't saved knocked us back 75 years. What felt like a shared language across the nation is gone. Agreed upon values are no longer agreed upon. We've always had a diversity of opinions, but we've lost both social and political norms, not even being able to agree on what's real. Facts, science, history, all under attack. We're grieving not just the passage of time, not just the people no longer with us. We're grieving the entire national framework in which our lives, past, present, and future, exist. And the consequences are visible and very painful. Violence on our streets, families torn apart. Yesterday, people didn't receive the money they need to feed themselves. Food, so basic. If you can't feed your people, you are a failed nation. There is so much to grieve. It's all real. I don't want to pretend it's not. And it's healing and it's healthy to name it, to feel it. I'm not going to suggest to anyone that we should deny what's real. The antidote to this level of grief isn't toxic positivity. It's communal care. It's having a place to tell the stories. The sweet, the sad, the long and boring, the meandering stories, the melancholy stories that make up who we are. It's being the safety net when our system collapses. Which is why I have gift cards today for grocery stores for anyone in the position of not having enough food to eat. It's being the gathering space to make music, to hear music, to be part of this communal expression. It's having people to get coffee with, to go to the diner with. It's knowing that you are invited even if you are a stranger, because your presence here makes you one of us. The antidote is communal care. And we have what we need to heal ourselves and each other. I'm going to close with words from Rilke, who said, "You who let yourselves feel, enter the breathing that is more than your own. Let it brush your cheeks as it divides and rejoins behind you. Fear not the pain, let its weight fall back into the earth. For heavy are the mountains, heavy the seas. The trees you planted in childhood have grown too heavy. You cannot bring them along. Give yourselves to the air. Give yourselves to what you cannot hold."